In this week's episode, I'm going to share a little bit about who I am and how I got to this place. I'm going to talk about value and the disproportionate amount of effort it takes and why you've got to double down on all your outcomes. And lastly, I'm going to share a great process of innovation, how you can take your business to that next level. All of this and more is included on this week's edition of The Gospel of Your Mind. So I get asked a lot, how'd you get into this? Where did you start out? What gave you the idea that you wanted to become a coach? You know, it was a long road. It was a road that I really had to dig into to decide, number one, if it was something that I really wanted to do. Fortunately for me, I had the opportunity of being guided into it. Through my past careers, through my past work history, I'd moved up into a supervisor, project manager position, all that, and I was directly responsible for people. I had reports, direct reports up to me and stuff. And what I loved the most about that was when that time came to do those reviews, to really work on those reviews with my employees. It was a time to really start to look forward. But here's the thing, I'd get excited about it. I'd plan for it. I'd get all prepped up doing the review, find some amazing, incredible ways, some strategies, some mindset that I could use to help them move forward. But we only did it once a year. Now that was tough because I like doing it a heck of a lot more than that. That got me thinking, how else could I do this? Where else could I make this difference? How else could I enjoy more of what I love doing? Because it's really about doing what you love doing. How could I enjoy more of what I love doing? The answer came to me in the form of a coaching program. Now, I'd looked into it for a while. I wasn't sure. I was a little bit skeptical even. It's like, can a person really make money off being a coach? Is this real? Right? It seems like anyone can be a life coach. But what I recognize is that every time I would work with my people, I would get astounding support from them. They'd be like, thank you so much. This has made such a difference in my life. Now I've got this. Heck, I've even helped some people work themselves right out of their jobs. People that work directly for me. I helped them work their way out of their jobs, which was amazing. Now for me, the road wasn't always easy, right? I had that mindset that, man, you know what? I've got to always keep that steady income coming. You know, and that's a good thing. Let's face it, we've got to pay bills and all that. But I was put into a situation where change happened for me. At the time, I didn't see it as that. I'd switched positions. I'd moved to a different company, and we hit a slowdown. We hit a bit of a recession there, and I got the call into the office. We need to have a meeting. And I sat down, and I saw the paperwork sitting in front, and I knew what it was all about at that time. I knew what was happening. I knew that now was the time that I would very shortly be unemployed. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. I just recently relocated my family, moved from one city to another city. Some things changed with my son in that I wouldn't be seeing him as much because I was taking this position on. And for me, it was a bit of a shock. Actually, it scared the shit out of me, to be completely honest, because here I was now in that place without that certainty, without that security of, oh my God, here's that steady paycheck coming in. Here's that steady money coming in. What I recognized, though, is to sit and stay in that place of worry. It wasn't going to do me any good whatsoever. I had to change that shit. I had to get out of that unresourceful place and hop into something that was really great. So what did I do? I doubled down on that coaching. I started to reach out to people. I started to let them know what I was doing. This is many years ago, and I had a very different approach on coaching. Right now, my strategy, my focus right now is all about the business side. At the time, hey, I just thought coaching was anything. I can do anything. And really we can, but what I had to discover was what I was really passionate about. I recognized something, that my passion wasn't in relationships. It wasn't about, working with people who didn't want to take the action, who didn't want to double down on their relationships. It was really about seeing businesses grow and thrive and prosper. It took me a little while to get there though. What did I have to do? I had to go and contract for a while, which was really just me being an employee. It was really just another version of me being an employee. I went and I did this contract and it lasted for, 6-8 months. And guess what? I hated it. Now here's the interesting thing about it. 6 figures, no problem, right? I had those 5 zeros with a 1 in front of it and more going on. It was easy, it was simple. The problem was it was too easy. It was too simple, and I hated it. That easy money wasn't what I was all about because I knew that I had to have it all about growth. I knew that for me to be fulfilled, I had to be constantly and consistently growing. From that point, I recognized I can't do this no more. I can't stay in that comfort zone anymore. I've got to step out, and I stepped out in a big way. I resigned. I had no idea what to expect, no idea what was going to come, but I knew I had one thing. I knew I had this coaching mindset, these coaching skills that I absolutely had to double down on. So I dug in. I started creating some programs. We spent all winter, one winter, creating some amazing programs, right? There's a program for individuals and there's a program for couples. This is still when I was in that place of looking at the relationship side of things. What I recognize is that that's not my jam. That's not where I want to be. Took a position on with one of the world's top coaching companies, right? And first of all, God, I didn't really think that I could even get in there. It's like, come on, Jamie, you're dreaming pretty freaking big. You're dreaming pretty big to even think that you have the skill set, that you have the knowledge, that you have the tools to get in there. But I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that story. I didn't believe any of that stuff. I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put my application. What's the best thing that could happen? Well, maybe they hire me. Maybe they bring me on. Maybe I get to work with one of these world's top coaching organizations. I put my application in, and guess what? Nothing. I heard nothing. I heard nothing, 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 nothing. And then when I had pretty much forgotten about it, pretty much let it all go, I got that call. Actually, it was an email. That email said, we've got your application. We'd like to talk to you more. Things happened fairly quickly after that. But I got into that place. There was a rigorous interview process. It lasted 3-4 months. There was live training, and it was all paid training. I had to pay for it. If I wanted to be a part of this, I had to double down and pay for it. I got into it. I was successful in all that, and things really took off for me, right? Number one, because I was able to get my focus straight on what I really wanted. Now I had more samples of really where I could go with that, of who I could work with. Through all that time, I also doubled down on my own education, not just through this company, but from other places, other sources. I began following even more people, finding even more influencers. Gary Vee, been a big one in my life. Had the opportunity to meet him a couple times as well, right? And it was absolutely amazing. What I'm saying here is this. My life has been interesting. My background, I'm a journeyman parts person. Really nothing to do with coaching, and really, maybe I shouldn't be in this place, but I am. I'm telling you this because you can do it too. You can take advantage of those opportunities. You can make that happen. In the big picture of things, I'm no one special. I'm no one spectacular. I just had that drive, desire, determination, and dedication, 4 Ds, to really go make it happen. Now, what's really great is in that time, I wrote a book. My book is called The Dimensions of Success. If you're looking for it, there's going to be some links up shortly. I want to share it out with you because it talks a little bit about that story. It talks a little bit about how my life has changed in that time, and it would mean the world to me if you grabbed yourself a copy of that book. It's a really great place to start. It's going to give you some insights, and perhaps it will even give you the idea, the skill, the mindset, the determination, the drive, the desire, or maybe even the dedication to really go after your goals. You see, the thing with effort is it's disproportionate to your results. What does that mean? What is this disproportionate? What does that mean? What it means is you're going to have to put in a shit ton of work to get the results that you want. Anyone that tells you the fairy tale that, yeah, you can set your automatic money maker, just turn it on and go, I'm sorry, I've got a bridge to sell them. It's not that easy and it's not that simple. What we have to recognize is that to get the most out of something, you've got to put in that disproportionate amount of effort, disproportionate amount of work, so that you can provide something that really, truly has value. The key here, the answer here, above and beyond anything else, is value. Value is the absolute answer. If you're selling a product, if you're selling a service, what do you have to do? You have to provide a ridiculous amount of value for your clients to really be able to see the value in the product, see the value in that service. Effort is what it takes to get to that place. Effort means working all sorts of those hours to get your amazing product, amazing service out for launch. Effort means spending time on those weekends. Effort means grinding till 1, 2 in the morning, whatever it takes to get that funnel, to get that launch page out for the day that you need it done. Effort is what it takes. And I'm going to tell you something that's interesting here. If you're not in that place where you're willing to put in that effort, where you're willing to give your fucking all, then entrepreneurship, it might not be for you. Hey, entrepreneurship's not for everyone. It's certainly not for everyone. Who's it for, though? It's for the people that are willing to put in the time, the effort, who are willing to put in a disproportionate amount of work to achieve their outcome, to achieve their objective. That's really what it's all about. We've got to put in that time, that effort, that focus, whatever it takes to get that ultimate outcome. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of moving forward. It's going to take a lot of late nights. And here's the best part, though. Here's the real best part, is that the outcome, when you achieve it, is so completely worth it. Getting to that end point where you can celebrate that service, that product, whatever it is you're doing, celebrating that, man, I'll tell you straight up, it was one of the most impactful things for me. I've got some courses that I've done, 3 amazing programs, right? The first one was pretty good to get that out, felt good to get it recorded. Second one, even better. The third one, though, and this is my effort, the third one, when I was cranking away on December 25th and 26th, putting in the time, finishing off the copy, doing the recording, doing the edits, and finally getting it all uploaded in just the right format, man, that was so worth it. When I got to sit back and say, yes, that's it. There's my product. There's that amazing product that I've got up there that people can now access, that people can tap into anytime. That was the big celebration for me. That was one of the biggest moments for me, is recognizing what I had done, and that came from a disproportionate amount of effort. Be prepared. Be prepared to put in the time. Be prepared to put in all the effort that you have to obtain that objective. Because if you don't, yeah, you might turn out a product, you might turn out a service, but my hallucination tells me that it's not going to be the best that you could make it. When you give it your all, when you step into it and own that, when you make work your bitch, that's when you've won. That's when you've provided something so amazing that your clients will be flocking to it, to buy it off the shelf, to get you as their consultant, to do whatever it takes to work with you because you've provided so much value to them. Effort is what it takes. Be prepared to go all in on your effort. I want to give you some added bonus value today, right? I'm all about providing massive value, about seeing the opportunities. And one of those things I want to talk about is the innovation process. If you're in this place where your business has had to slow down or shut down, what you've got to figure out is what you can do with the available time, your available product or service, and how you can innovate, how you can pivot. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you the actual practical steps of how to go ahead and do that. Number 1, get the stuff out of your head. Biggest thing you can do is give yourself the gift of actually getting it all out. No matter how small, no matter how big, no matter how radical that idea might sound. If you work with some partners, get everyone in via Zoom, respect that social distancing, but do yourself the massive favor of getting everything out of your head. All the ideas. Collate them. Bring those ideas together. Get them all on one page so we can really see what it is that we have to work with. If it's just yourself, you're going to have that list. Part number 2, start to look at it and say, okay, which one of these might take me the least amount of work? Which one of these might take the least amount of effort? And which one of these is going to take the least amount of cash to really get it going on? Those can be 3 really great measurements to decide what it is from your innovation list that you now have to go ahead and take action on, right? Again, what's going to take the least amount of time? What's maybe going to take the least amount of effort? And then number 3, what's going to take the least amount of cash? What can we do with the actual product services that you have on hand? One of my own personal clients, amazing, amazing lady. I had the beauty to do a podcast with her. She's gone ahead and introduced some baskets right now. She typically does an amazing job around Christmas time, gets just an absolute ton of sales on her baskets. What she decided is in this place, because, just recently we've gone through Easter. We're about to step into Mother's Day, and she saw the opportunity. This isn't something that they normally do. They typically reserve them for Christmas time. But she recognized, okay, number one, I've got some product on hand that's maybe not moving as fast or moving at all right now in the store. People love our baskets. People want to buy them, and we've just never gone out and looked at the opportunity to share them in this different time. She pulled together all the products. She reached out to some of her suppliers that are actually slow right now. She got in contact with them and said, hey, I want to put these baskets together. We want to look at Easter, and Easter was real short. We want to look at Mother's Day. She did this. She took that massive action, and because of that, did some amazing, incredible sales last week. She's doing something else over and above and beyond as well. She's delivering them, right? It's a little bit of time. It's a little bit of fuel. But in the big scheme of things, right, wasn't necessarily a lot of effort. They had most all the product to be able to put everything together. Didn't really cost a lot because, again, a lot of the product was already on hand. It was inventory that they had already had. And number three, the effort, something they enjoy doing anyways. It's something they love putting together and taking the time to do that. The smiles on people's faces when they got those baskets delivered, it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. Bailey is her name. She'd run up to the door, she'd ring the doorbell, she'd leave the basket on the door, she'd sit in her vehicle, again, observing the whole social distancing, and she'd see the smiles on the people's face when they'd open the door and they'd see these beautiful baskets. Right? Really simple stuff. It's something that they already knew how to do. Didn't take a lot of effort, certainly didn't take a lot of time, and didn't cost a lot of money because the product was already there. That's step number two. So what have we got so far? Number one, we've got to do the brain dump. We've got to get all those ideas out of our head. What is it that we can do right now? Think about it for yourself. I had an amazing conversation on one of my Facebook Lives that I was doing the other day, and it had to do with a travel company, a transfer company. They would pick you up at the airport, and they would bring you to your hotel or whatnot. Well, obviously, there's not a lot of tourism going on right now. So we started doing just some brainstorming, some ideas, myself and my Facebook partner, Mick. Got some ideas and said, well, what if this company started doing some virtual wine tours? What if they went around and, either in person or recorded, had some stuff on there that, number one, could promote some of the wineries, promote some of the local establishments, some of the local destinations. And then number two, really got the highlight on there. I added to it. What if they did a virtual wine tasting? What if that winery were to ship you some wine, right? If you're in the continental of Australia, this was down in Australia. What if they were to ship you some wine, and upon opening it, you got maybe a special link or something that you could set up a time and you could do an actual tasting. You'd grab your wine, the actual wine maker would be there on the other end of the camera. You'd have a slot with him, and they would actually go over it and show you and tell you, take the time as to what you're really tasting. That's a massive value add, and it gets it out there, right? What does a tour operator do, or the airport transfer company? They get to be that bridge to really make that happen. It's not anything that's really different. It's not anything that's a big stretch or anything from where they were. They simply have to reach out to some of their local contacts, find where that opportunity is, and go for it. Number two, we took a look at the least amount of effort, the least amount of time, and the least amount of cost. That's one big thing we want to do. Now, we've got those two things. What do we got to do? We've got to take some sort of action towards that outcome's result, meaning do something with it. Gary Vee, I love Gary Vee, you guys all know that. What does he say? And it says it right on my phone. Ideas are shit without execution. And this is absolutely true. If you've now got those ideas, you recognize some of the activities that you can take, you've got to do something with it. You deserve that. Your business deserves that. The people that you're about to serve deserve that. Take action. That's step number three. Do something. Bring it forward. Whether it's utilizing social media right now, social media is a really amazing place right now. I think I read, this was a week or two ago, things may have changed since then, but the average social media spend for Facebook, for all this, for advertising, was down by almost 40%, if not more. Do you think that this might be a good time now to take advantage of that? To get your message out there, to get your product, your service out there? Well, if you said no, you'd be wrong. Now is the time to take advantage of it, even though things are slower. Even though the world has changed and the world has moved on, now is an amazing time to really let people know who you are, what you do, and how you can serve them the most. Part number 4. This is going to be a little bit of a bonus part here, but it's about making it personal. Take the time right now. You've got a ridiculous, disproportionate amount of time on your hands right now. Let's face it, most of us, we're not commuting. We don't have that extra investment of time to drive back and forth to work, to do this, to do that. Take advantage of that time. You've got it. It's your gift right now. So make those messages personal. If it's you, maybe texting some of your clients, letting them know what has to be done. If it's, reaching out to them via a personalized email, or maybe it's you even picking up that phone and making that call to your clients to let them know what you've got on the go, what you've been cooking, and maybe how they're doing, how some of your clients are doing. That level of personalization, man, it goes a long way. It goes a humongous distance in getting you the outcomes that you want. Those are the 4 areas where you can really innovate now. This is what innovation's all about. It's about doing something different. These times, these crazy times that we're in right now, this is a gift. This is an amazing gift for us to change our perspective on how business is done, right? It's an amazing way to really look at things and say, hey, how do I really want to do business moving forward? What does that really mean to me? Right? Do I want to do business the same old way that I've always done it? Here's a hint. The answer is no. Or can I innovate? Can I optimize, taking advantage of this thing that's happened for us right now to make my business model even better? Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time that you've decided it's enough of being an employee. Same process applies. If you want to innovate your life, number 1, what are all the things that you'd want to do? Number 2, what can you do without investing maybe a ton in training or anything like that? And then number 3 is taking some action, moving it forward. Whether it's offering your services, your knowledge to someone who really needs it right now. Look, man, there's a lot of people that are out of work right now. They're unemployed. They're not in a place where they're making that. How can we all come together as a global community and really help each other out? Do you have some skills as a videographer? That's something that I could use, someone that could go through and do some of my editing for me, because I'm a very much an amateur at best. I know someone could take some of this stuff and really make that humongous difference for me. This is the opportunity. This is the place to collaborate, to really figure out what it is. Whether you're a business, whether you're an individual, the time for innovation and the process for innovation is right here and right now.